Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, consultant, audiologist and director of ClearWax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iCLEARscope endoscope, and I have a very interesting case for you. So this is of a patient who attends annually, and this is their right ear. I will upload their left ear in a separate video. And the first time the patient visited me was back in 2021. And when they did, they presented with Keratosis Obturans. And in this ear it was a grade 2, and in their left ear was a grade 1. And I still kind of remember that first appointment. It took me about an hour just to remove it from both ears. And I must have it on my YouTube playlist, on the Keratosis Obturans playlist somewhere. And then after that, I asked the patient to attend annually just to keep on top of it, because it was extremely difficult to remove. And Keratosis Obturans, I will discuss it in more detail in a moment, but patients with Keratosis Obturans attend with ear pain. So it's much more harder to remove because they're already experiencing otalgia, which is the medical name given for ear pain. Now, fortunately, since then, so this isn't a Keratosis Obturans today, because we're maintaining it on a regular basis. And in fact, there's a lot more earwax today. So what I'll do first, I'll explain the difference between earwax and a Keratosis Obturans. So now, earwax is an amalgamation of 3 primary ingredients. It's dead skin cells that shed from the ear. So for Western earwax, that makes up around 60% of earwax. In some parts of the Far East, the dead skin cells make up a high percentage of earwax. So it could be 70 to 80%. And the remainder is made up of wet matter. So that's a combination of sebum, which is an oily lipid secretion secreted by the sebaceous glands. We also have that on our scalp and all across our body, if I'm honest. And then the other wet matter is a lipid, oily, protein-rich sweat, similar to the sweat, not on our brow, but under our armpits. We call it, and they're produced by apocrine glands, and in the ear, they're modified apocrine glands called ceruminous glands. So they all amalgamate together to form earwax. A Keratosis Obturans is somewhat different. It's actually an epidermal skin plug. And it's as a result of a lack or an abnormal shedding of the epithelial skin, which is the outermost layer of skin. Now, skin typically has 3 layers. You have the epidermal layer, so the most superficial visible layer. Next, you have the dermis layer, which is the middle layer. And the dermis layer contains hair follicles. So those hair strands that you can see at the entrance of the ear, the follicles are rooted in the dermis layer. It also contains nerves and blood vessels, and also elastin and collagen. And then the third layer is the hypodermis layer, or the subcutaneous layer, and that's predominantly made up of adipose tissue, which is fatty tissue. So those 3 skin layers in combination, in the ear at least, is about 1 millimeter in thickness. Now, the composition of skin in the ear canal varies. So the outer third, which is made up of cartilage, that contains the 3 layers of skin. The inner 2/3, the osseous portion, the bony portion, only contains the epidermal layer of skin, the outermost superficial layer. So that's about 0.1 millimeters in thickness. And that layer of epidermal skin originates, it's formed and produced at the center of the eardrum. That's your progenitor site. So the epidermal layer of skin is formed at the center of the eardrum, and then it kind of migrates laterally. The best analogy I can give is the way I explain it to my patients. So a snake sheds its skin by exiting the skin. And it's the same with the ear, but in reverse. So the dead skin sheds the ear by exiting the ear. And we call that process lateral epithelial migration. So it's the migration of the epithelial skin from the eardrum to out the ear. Now, with Keratosis Obturans, it's either an abnormal migration. So instead of migrating from the eardrum to the entrance of the ear, this skin is migrating inwards to the center of the ear canal. It could also be a slower rate of migration or a complete lack of migration. Another thing with Keratosis Obturans is that as this epithelial layer of skin migrates towards the entrance, these individual skin cells are interlocked, but as they reach the entrance, they should separate. We call that desquamization. But with Keratosis Obturans, there's a lack of desquamation, so these individual skin cells are still interlocked. And what that creates is a lamellar structure, so it's like layers, long sheets of skin, a bit like an onion. And then these layers of skin shed from the ear canal, and then you get another layer, and then you get another layer, and it forms into a plug. And I describe like a rubber plug. And this rubber plug can physically, due to sheer pressure, widen the ear canal, but it can also initiate a process called bony remodeling as a result of bony resorption. So when this plug of epidermal skin compresses against the ear canal, it initiates osteoclasts, which are specialized bone cells that live on the surface of the bone, and their function is to break down the outer layer of bone into its core minerals and tissues and redistribute it into the bloodstream so new bone can be formed using those minerals and tissues and other parts of the body. And you get, for that reason, patients with Keratosis Obturans, and one of the diagnostic criteria is ear pain, because you can imagine just how painful that process is. And this rubber ball just growing bigger and bigger inside the ear. So a grade 1 Keratosis Obturans is where a patient has some otalgia, ear pain, but there's no real discernible widening of the ear canal. A grade 2 is where, again, there's pain, a bit more pain than grade 1, but there is some noticeable widening of the ear canal. Grade 3 is when there's more expansive erosion of the ear canal, or widening, should I say, and obviously more pain as a result, but the presence of granulation tissue. So granulation tissue is inflammatory tissue. So it's made up of connective tissue, and it has its own blood supply. So it undergoes a process of neovascularization. And you normally get this granulation tissue at the junction of the cartilage and bony region of the ear canal, so just in the about 1 centimeter in. And when you remove a Keratosis Obturans that's a grade 3, you often get bleeding, and it's not bleeding because you've made contact with the ear canal. It's because you're rupturing those new blood capillaries that are formed within the granulation tissue. And a grade 4 is a severe widening of the ear canal where it's invading adjacent structures. For example, it can erode the posterior, so the back part of the ear canal, to merge with the mastoid bone. So we call that an automastoidectomy. It can grow anteriorly to the front part of the ear canal where the TMJ joint is, so the temporomandibular joint is. It can grow inferiorly, it can even grow superiorly. And those patients will be an unbearable pain, and that typically needs surgery to correct. Another hallmark of Keratosis Obturans, and this patient has somewhat got it here, you get a white peripheral matrix. Now, if this is, well, I was going to say if this was left untouched, it'd probably form into a Keratosis Obturans, but there is some genuine earwax here as well. And because we're cleaning this on a regular basis, we're just keeping on top of it. So I'm just going to go back to the procedure now, just to kind of explain a bit more. Now, the entrance of the ear canal is somewhat narrow, but this part is a bit wider. You'll see some contouring of the ear canal. It's not a smooth ear canal. And I think I've used the ear pick already. I've used some forceps, which weren't that effective. Just put loads of oil just to kind of break down the outer layer of skin, because you will see a thick blanket of skin lining the medial ear canal, so the deeper regions of the ear canal, and also the eardrum. And it was slightly infected with some fungi, some more, I believe so anyway, some aspergillosis. Now, the ear canal is home to a whole host of bacteria and fungi, and they're kind of what we call healthy bacteria and fungi. They're your skin flora. And one of the fungi that naturally resides in the ear canal is aspergillosis, but sometimes you can get an overgrowth, particularly when you've got, so much debris in the ear and you get the humidity. So we have just refer them to the GP for some swab and antifungals. But by virtue of removing what we have, and you'll see that in a moment, that itself can overcome the issue. So I'm just using it. Now, the ear pick was really useful in this ear because this, as I said, this patient's ear canal in the outer half at least was quite narrow. So using an ear hook, as it's, you insert the ear hook sideways, and you can't always fit it in a narrow ear for that reason, because it'll come in contact with the roof of the ear canal either side. So with an ear pick that I've developed, specifically for Keratosis Obturans, if I'm honest, because you can get in between the plug and the canal wall, but also in very narrow ears, it's got a low profile. You can almost dig out the wax. So I've removed the main boulder, just some here. So this is earwax. It's not what I'm physically removing on the surface of the skin. It is earwax, but they have got this blanket of skin, which I'm also going to remove. And it was quite tough. It was really adhesive. As you can see, this part of the ear canal is somewhat wider than the entrance, and you'll see a bit more widening on the anterior canal wall there. And you can see some of the hyphae, which are the woolly strands, which are associated with aspergillus. There's a few fungal spores as well on the surface of the dead skin. So the patient could hear better, but not 100%, because they have got this layer of skin which thickens the eardrum. Now, the eardrum vibrates in response to sound waves. The eardrum is around 0.1, 0.2 millimeters in thickness. But when you've got this thick blanket of skin, you're going to make the eardrum thicker. So obviously they could hear better when they first came in, but it still wasn't 100% for the patient until we removed this skin. I think I put some sodium bicarbonate drops in, which is much more effective with dead skin than olive oil. And I'm just I was seeking a part of the skin where I can lift and get some purchase and grip, and now I have. I'm going to try peeling it all the way around. So I'm just going to the anterior canal wall. And this skin almost has its own memory. As soon as you let go, it kind of flaps back onto the canal. As you can see, about 4 o'clock, a bit of kind of abnormal kind of widening erosion. So this is the region where the ear canal has widened. The left side, I think, was a grade 1. There wasn't much noticeable widening of the ear canal. So I think I'm going to go posteriorly in a moment, we shall see. I think I did use some forceps. Hopefully I've shown that. It's just didn't get the grip. It was almost cutting the skin as opposed to coming away. Now, just bottom right, well, about 3 o'clock, you can just see on occasion when I'm peeling the skin right to left, you can see some of the eardrum making itself visible. But yeah, it's quite tough peeling skin, and obviously working in a confined space as well. So got to avoid making contact with the bony part of the ear canal. It's very, very sensitive. So here's the forceps. I think I used it earlier on as well, but wasn't very beneficial. It's pulling, but it's also, I think, cutting through the skin where I am there. See, some of it did peel off the eardrum, but then it did cut. You can see that skin came away, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back to suction. And you can see the top part of the ear canal. There's a bit of hyphae on the eardrum itself. It's just got a few spores on the skin. The underlying skin looks healthy. So I'm just going to go from reverse, and that you can start seeing the eardrum now. So I've peeled some of it from the front part of the eardrum, peeling it from the back. Just going to this front part. So it's this region where they've got more. It is a global widening. That's another hallmark with Keratosis Obturans, but it's particularly on this side. And I think I've managed to get it off the canal wall, and now it's just getting it off the eardrum. It's playing hard to get, but I managed to get it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, speak soon. Bye.